Welcome to Cooper Talk. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, and remember, I'm only as hip as my guest. Now, to tell you something, people, I haven't shaved my head lately. I don't know why, and as I said, Joanne's mom was out this week, and her niece comes in tomorrow, so I don't really want to shave it because I leave a mess when I shave my head. But it's weird when you're bald in the back and your hair starts growing back, it really itches, and I'm not used to this. So I've been scratching my head, and I think people think I have dandruff, which I don't, because I'm one of those people that I've always shampooed. Even when I shave my head, I shampoo. So just in case my hair grows. But it's really irritating because I keep scratching my head, and I think they think I have lice or I have dandruff. Anyway, Mike, I bring this up because my next guest, he has a haircut. You grow your hair.
Laughing already. You got me laughing already.
It's Rick Overton.
Brother.
How you doing, Rick?
Man, it's true. You shave your head. It does all this great. By the way, that's not the only thing that goes crazy when you shave it.
Oh, yeah.
Or so I'm told.
Yeah.
There's areas you shave and the person just starts going insane.
Well, you keep the beard for you. You're always working. It's so funny. You were on my show years ago, and you're not only an amazing stand-up, which I will say that because you are, but your IMDb, you have like 160. I don't even know you have that because I do this research. You have 167 credits on IMDb.
Yeah. So I got a few.
It's crazy.
Lucky. Yeah, sure. It's crazy.
Now, how did you get into this business? Were you a funny kid? I mean, how did the whole thing start?
Yeah,
how
I was a funny kid. My dad was a jazz musician, so he loved comedy. And he loved Jonathan Winters because Jonathan Winters was a verbal jazz musician. So he would play the Jonathan Winters for me and make me fall in love with the comedy, which happened. And I would watch them open for my parents. My mom was one of the Chordettes, Lollipop, Mr. Sandman. My dad arranged for Monk in New York, and so I'd go to the clubs and I'd see comedians. And it stuck in my head that I could share the stage with my parents without competing with them. Years of self-examination later. But turned out that's what some of the drive was. And I got to be the guy that traveled with the least amount of crap in the bus. They provide a mic. I don't have to bring a goddamn thing except a notepad, So that was pretty cool. It's like you're the guy in the band that plays the harmonica or the triangle.
Right.
It's like not a giant schlep for you to get out of the bus. So I saw that there was a connection between comedy and acting right away because of Peter Sellers, which was also a guy my dad was a huge fan of. And so I learned about Peter Sellers thanks to Dad. And I had a childhood that was, standard kids doing dopey shit and getting caught and getting in trouble in class. But once I saw a little smile out of a couple of girls in class, and they tilt their head when they look at me, I'm like, oh, damn it, now I'm locked.
Right.
I'm not. There goes the cowboy and astronaut part.
Yeah. Screw that, man.
I guess I'm stuck now, trying to get this level of popularity the rest of my life, or those giant anonymous bulk shovel scoops of faceless approval.
Now, when did you start hitting the comedy clubs? Because it was early. It was, you grew up near New York. So
yeah, I grew up in New York and then right across from it, Englewood, New Jersey.
So when did you start hitting the clubs? When did all this start happening? And then, I mean, it must have just been an amazing scene because it was early. It was the club, the comics. That was somewhat new, right? Besides, as you said, the jazz and the vaudeville, not vaudeville, the jazz stuff like that. What was it like when the comedy clubs started opening? I mean, was it hard to get on stage, or how did you just approach that technique?
I did school stuff. You do a skit, They give you little things to do. Schools with arts. You must have a school with arts. A school that just teaches your kid to just develop one half of their head, the kid's going to go nuts. They're not going to be complete or happy or any of those things in their lives. You have to give them a full, rounded arts program. It's developing both halves of their head. It isn't up to you. It isn't about your opinion or religion. It's about letting the child have both sides of their skull form correctly. and then decide a life, as opposed to one half dominant, and they just think they're doing things they hate, and they drink themselves to death because they never really chased who they actually are. So I think always have an arts department, but I'm so lucky I caught one where I was that it made me think I had a chance. Teachers would actually nod and give a laugh when I was funny and just, no, go back and do your math thing. They actually saw another thing. And once having seen it, they would give you a chance to prove you've got the chops, as opposed to they shut it down now or put you on a pill now or some bullshit like that. I don't go for that stuff, man. I think a kid should have every kind of expression and practice, whether it's music or theater or what, because they don't know who they are yet. And when they find out then, I found out then. That's
Right.
why I'm here today, because I found out then.
Well, you know,
every kid should get that chance. Am I wrong about that?
no, here, you know, I agree with you because it's so funny. I was just talking to my girlfriend's mom. She's in town, and it's just you made that point about the pill. You know, everyone's on a pill now, and it's like, you know, when I was younger, you know, if you were a little hyper, you know, you didn't have ADHD, you were just a little bit of hyper. And if you daydreamed, which all kids did, they didn't give you something to stop you daydreaming. Because I'm going to tell you something. When you daydream, that's, you know, we always talk about the field of being creative. You know, when you get ideas, when you're driving or when you're almost asleep, when you daydream, your mind's at a different level, but it's supposed to be at that level because that's when you create.
I'll tell you, let's list some of the people who daydreamed. Einstein daydreamed. Newton daydreamed. Edison daydreamed. Lincoln daydreamed. People who say don't daydream need to shut the fuck up forever. They just need to be duct taped shut.
So you had a good school like that. So now you get out, and so now where do you start your comedy career at?
I start my comedy career as in paid career,
well, just as
career as in it's sunk in.
Sunk in.
Well, maybe in school, like that story I was telling. Then a couple of school plays, and there's going to be a revival of a band in New York that I was pals with at my high school, Dwight Morrow and Englewood, New Jersey. They were Danny and Dave Bennett and a bunch of guys, Tony's kids, who had Quacky Duck and his Barnyard Pals, and I would get up and open for them. It was my first brutal comedy gig, opening for music with a rough, unformed act, you know. And and out of the whole thing, I got maybe 3 laughs. And then the rest was, okay, you know. And I walked off going, okay, I got 3. It's a start. What do you want from me? I'm a kid. I got 3. As opposed to I got nothing. I got 3.
And I suppose you went up there. I mean, that's a big step too.
I did a set. I went up. I looked out at them, the crowd, and I absorbed the loss and was a little fidgety, but continued anyway. Which to me is, you know, you got to be able to do that part. Is you take the hit and you go on anyway, and expect the first few to look kind of nervous and hummery and dry mouthy and all that shit until you get adjusted to that, because you'll never stop having rough sets. What you can do is stop having the earliest reaction you ever had to it.
Right. Because that's like I used to do when
it's like landing a jet on a carrier.
Right.
The first time you're bringing a jet on a rocking boat at 170 knots down to a dead halt on a cable, you know, your heart's going bow, 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 bow in your chest. By the 100th landing, you're like, here we go. All right, there's Joey up on the deck waving at me. Okay, I'm going to get chicken for lunch.
So
as you get the strap burn into your shoulders, you know.
Yeah, so you do that, and you got the 3, and that's good because then you know I got to go forward. So where do you take it from there?
Lots of ups and downs. I had 2 teams. I was teamed at first with Ton Tonn Pastor, who now is he's a published poet and author, and deals in sales because his dad was in very high up in mass meat distribution to grocery stores, like top end of that. So he was very intelligent to go into that and do the art on the side so he can have kids and all those other things that depend on a steady income that I don't really think in terms of, and turned out to be a very creative individual on his own, even though he wasn't really doing what we did anymore. But I think it started that engine so that even though he's a 9-to-5er, paying the bills, doing the thing off the left half of the head, that right half didn't ever give up because he got the training in our school to keep that other candle, that pilot light of creativity lit, and let it tell you what kind of thing it wants to do to keep itself alive. Because later, you just want the skill set. It wasn't about the separate thing. And so after him, I was looking for another partner after he took off to go. And I was a little time off, and I was lost. I liked being in a team because I was scared to be on my own. You know, I just was. And didn't think I could do it. So I relied on someone I could keep cranking my head left and looking over to, you know. And then I met Roger Sullivan, and buddy Bill Spitz put me in touch with his buddy Rog Sullivan. And Roger and I formed a team, and we went to Watkins Glen, the rock concert. Do you remember Watkins Glen? It was going to be the next. There was going to be the next Woodstock, right?
Yeah, I remember Watkins. Where is Watkins Glen exactly? Is that in Pennsylvania? No,
that's in New York.
They have a racetrack out there.
That's a racetrack, yeah. And so we went to that one because my ride fell through for Woodstock, and I was too young to drive. So this one we could drive. We got to. And once there, we started doing a skit while the band was setting up. We just started riffing a bit, coming up with laughs and jokes, and a whole crowd of people waiting for the band to set up their instruments turned around and looked at us. And I went, okay, I guess we're a team now. So we did a team for a few years. But here's an interesting phenomenon that happens when you do a team for a while, is you go from not making any money when you were artists. Whenever you're not making money, you can stay in the art, and everything was brilliant, everyone was good. But as soon as they start paying you, it starts divvying off into who was more important than the team for that one check, because they don't pay twice the amount for that time slot. The two of you got to split that amount now.
And that causes friction.
It causes a shitload of friction. It turns it from the art form to the business. And like every other thing in business, it ugly, cold negotiation. And it broke the team up. And creative differences. And also, he was very into the structure of the bits and didn't as much believe in his ability to improv as I believed in mine. Even though you could see it was in his blood, he could do it too, but he didn't see himself that way. So when I did it, it was kind of not as comfortable for him. And we had some conflicts. But as a structure sketch guy goes, he's about the best I had ever seen. So I understand why he focused on that, because that was his skill set. But I was finding a new skill set in me, and so that's where we started to have our problems, is I'm finding a new part. We got a kid, we're still in our earliest 20s, and we're figuring all this shit out. So there's still room for you to grow, but if the other person has it sort of set up, they don't want that part, then it's going to be more tough. So that's sort of what we went through, and some years of not such a good vibe, and towards the end, he had a bad heart, and he didn't make it, but we got to be friends towards the end, and I was very grateful that was the case. We got to reconcile a little bit, and I sure wanted that.
See, that's good. That's because that's always good, because you're a team, and and there's something that it's like a band.
Yeah,
you're going to go through stuff. You have egos, and that's the thing. I mean, and performers, we have an insecurity, but we also have egos. That's what drives us to the stage. And I can imagine, when you do stand up, it's you, but with a team, you probably do. And when you're younger, because when we're young, we don't really know that much. You sit there and you're going, you feel like, okay, you know what? I'm the one who's getting the laughs, and the egos pop in. And that's what, is hard. So,
yeah, and also you haven't had all the other experiences that make you a little more of a grown-up yet later, but you're given this completely grown-up set of responsibilities in the entertainment business, and you're just a kid who has to look like you have it together, and you're faking it, and you're just holding on for dear life.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, how did you sit there, you said you weren't comfortable being on stage by yourself. How did you get over that being a little fearful of that? How did you sit there and go, okay, did you just sit there and go, I love comedy, I just have to get my ass up there and perform? Yeah.
I took Irving Dalbin's school, and I got some basics, but having studied with Phil Foster was elemental to me. Me and Raj took Phil Foster's comedy course, and you think, oh, what is that guy? Phil Foster, he's old school. He was great old school. He gave us solid fundamentals. We were in class with comedian George Wallace. There was not just slouches in there. There were some big guys that went on to great things, and Irving had a great influence on me and Raj. Some basics that I take with me today. And then the rest of it is you hit and you miss. But I think studying improv with J.J. Barry and Martin Harvey Friedberg in New York changed my life. I think maybe more than anything else I've ever done in entertainment was to start studying with those guys. It was so important. I was so grateful.
How did it change your life?
My career. I think if you look on my IMDb, you're going to see that what is in there, more than half of that, they knew me because I do improv, and I know how to aim it at a camera. And that's its own thing. It's not the same as on stage. But it came from believing that that part of my brain can solve lots of problems here.
Now,
so I would say Mark Lano and Joanne Astro giving me a shot and playing with Off the Wall in New York was one of the giant breakthrough moments for me. When I was starting to break up with Raj, and I go, what else do I got? Where's my next team? Oh, I'm stuck without a family. I'm screwed. And then they let me come up and play, and I started to feel like I loosened up. And I started to feel like I can make families where I go, because that's part of what that is. Make a little family for yourself, and you play with them, you know. So, all of that said, Roger, I'm grateful for every split second of all the time I had to do the comedy with Raj. I learned so much, and I look back on it now, and we made some great skits. For the day, I wouldn't defend them all material-wise today. But I think if you look at it as two kids that you can forgive with your own kind eye, can you look back, Steve, at your stuff with a kind eye? And even though you wouldn't do the joke today, you get that was fine then?
Yeah, you know, it's weird. I look at some of my bits, and I've had people say to me, because I don't perform much anymore. And are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. I've had people sit there and say, hey, remember that bit you did? And I'm like, wow, you know, you look back at your bits and you go, it was just, that's what we were doing. And that's how you grow. You know, like I used to do a lot of one-liners. And now I tweet them because one, I'll be honest, I don't have the brain capacity to remember a 30 or 40 minute set of one-liners. I look at a John Mendoza, I go, how the hell does Mendoza do it?
How does Mendoza
got to do like
the machine?
2,000 jokes. The guy's got to be doing 2,000. You sit there
jokes.
and you're like,
holy shit, man!
I mean, we don't.
That's amazing.
Like, people don't recognize that. You know, it's, you know the term civilians. They don't get that. You know, they think, oh yeah, how much goes into someone even doing 10 minutes of one-liners? Like, you're the king of improv. Everyone knows that. You know,
I'm not a one-liner guy so much. I have the occasional one, but that's not my. But no one thinks of. Don't go to Rick for a one-liner necessarily.
Right. So when you go on stage, you can improv and you can go off on things. But for a one-liner, most one-liner guys aren't good at the improv. That's why they're doing the one-liners, and it's amazing. That's what's amazing. It's true. It's what's amazing about this art form.
It's a beautiful art form.
It's amazing, yeah.
Rodney, man. You know who's the preeminent authority on Rodney is Robert Klein, and you have to see the movie about him that's coming out. It's a documentary. It's either out or coming out. It's been making the festivals. It's called I Still Can't Stop My Leg, and directed by Marshall Fine, and it's a wonderful honoring of. Isn't he a hero of yours?
Oh, he was just, I mean, all those guys, you know, even looking back, you know, and I think because I grew up near Philadelphia, you know, we all knew Brenner. And you know, I grew up at a time where, you know, Brenner was everywhere. And Brenner was somewhat of a one-line guy. I mean, no, he was observational, but he was, you know, he was sitting there. It was these guys that we watched. It was just different. Like, they were like.
I gave Brenner a line when I was a kid. Oh, that's a breakthrough moment for me. It's the first time a big name took a line from me was Brenner.
What happened?
It's Catch, and he's doing the bit. You ever notice when you lock your keys in your car, and you get a coat hanger, and you're trying to get them out, and some guy walks by and says, hey, you lock your keys in your car? And he goes, no, I always get into my car this way, he said. It was the original button. I said, can you tag it with, thank God the top was down, or I never would have gotten it.
So he used that?
He used it. I saw it, and I was just so happy, and high five and everybody. Yeah, that's one of those things, you know. When you're a kid and you get the credit of you gave someone a bit and they used it. Over the years, I've been able to throw someone a bit here and there. I gave Jerry Seinfeld the bit about the moose. He had the bit about the moose being airlifted out on a harness.
Okay.
The moose doesn't know what the hell's going on. He's just looking around. The moose can't figure out the whole dynamic of a helicopter and relocation for his safety. So I said, can you give him the added thing that he doesn't? He thinks, hey, now I have super moose power and I must rescue moose kind, you know. And so it's like a super moose. He doesn't know why he's flying. And well, you'd have to see it. Anyway, it was another proud moment to have a pal do something on TV that you kind of kicked in on.
Now, what was it like at Catch? Because I know you were on the sixth annual Young Comedian Special.
Yes.
And now, and like, what was comedy like then? Because all you guys were, it was different then. It's like, you know.
Yeah, it was less of it. Whatever you did was more unique because it wasn't repeated 1,000 times ahead of you. This is kind of like a saturated market now, man. You got to know that's true, Steve. Even though there's great innovation, it's like a little bit saturated now because of years and, I don't want to say years, decades of TV, kind of using it up.
Now, what was it like though back then? I mean, just like it must have been a spark. I mean, you know, like just an energy.
Oh, it felt like everything was forward. Everything wasn't improv. Everything was possible. There weren't enough comics for all the clubs opening, and they were begging you to do a spot.
Isn't that crazy? And just the thought, like,
isn't that crazy?
Now you see, like I mean,
and you knew the whole time we were looking at each other, going, "Ooh, this is good," and this is not going to last, boys. This is going to go away, and we better be smart little cookies here. Figure out what else we are, like actor or writer.
Well, I didn't know that you wrote for the Dennis Miller Show.
I wrote on the HBO Dennis Miller Live series.
How did that come about?
Kevin Rooney was moving on to do another gig and recommended me he grandfathered me in.
So what is that like for a guy like you who's a stand-up, who likes a lot of improv, to all of a sudden you're sort of being more contained? I've heard a lot of times it's hard to go in the writer's room.
Yeah, it was a tough writer's room, but Dennis knew me for so long, he was easy on me. He can play pretty rough with some of them. I saw it, so you just got to go. That's the way this college works, And there were parts I was stronger with. I was pretty rant dominant because my brain works like that. Every now and then I'd get a few one-liners in, but it wasn't my strong suit. I did a lot of photo captions at the end, but I was proudest of the rants. That's where my lion's share of contribution went, because I also string on thoughts in a rant myself.
Yeah, you do. I know you have some. You like to rant, but you also. What I like is on Facebook. I want to talk about your Facebook account because you put up a lot of political things, but you don't preach, which is weird.
I share what other people. I don't generate any of them. If something piques my interest, I put it up. I say thank you for sharing this, and then let people make their own opinions about it. As long as they're not a bully or a jerk, I'll let you stay on. Once you're rude, you're gone.
That's good.
No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care if I know you. You're gone. You will go. You'll be gone.
Now,
so we'll just have to be real friends. Oh, I'm sorry. We're just actual friends now.
Yeah.
Oh.
It is amazing, social media.
Yeah.
I mean, just because also, I mean, the way people...
You unfriended me, friend.
I know. It's like, I mean, I sit there, I think sometimes it just unfriends people. Like, I don't unfriend. Honestly, I don't even know how to unfriend someone. I don't even take the time. I go, you know what? If there's no reason for me. I mean, if they're idiots, you can block them. But it happens sometimes where you somehow accidentally someone got unfriended and they sent me a message like, why'd you unfriend me? I'm like, I didn't unfriend you. What the hell are you talking about?
I hit that button with my thumb. I've done a couple of accidental, like a butt dial. I butt blocked people.
So now,
oh, sorry, man. That was my ass's decision. Right. That wasn't mine. I let my butt choose certain friends.
So when did you move out west? Because you were in New York. When did you eventually move out west? And you lived in San Francisco for a while, right?
Now I just worked there a lot. It seemed like I lived there because I worked so much there. I was just staying in hotels and friends' houses. But I lived in L.A. I moved to L.A. in 80.
And what brought you out? Just, you had to...
Chris Albrecht, the comedy boom. Chris Albrecht, who was now, the head of Stars programming, was an agent for ICM and brought a bunch of comedians. Gilbert Gottfried, Joe Piscopo, me, Richard Lewis, a whole bunch of guys, all just gill net of us. Boom, just dumped us on the deck of L.A. like a boat, like fish. And we're all fish out of water until we learn to swim there.
Yeah, it must...
Here we are.
It's where did you live first? I always wonder where people got their first apartment. I had this little apartment on Leland Way. It was like 385 for a studio. It was $385. This is 15 years ago. Where did you move in 1980 when you came out here?
I first stayed with Greg Travis on Genesee across from Fairfax High.
Okay.
And then I got my own place, and I moved to behind Cantor's.
Okay.
Where it was like the Comedy Arms. It was Larry Miller and a bunch of guys all staying in that apartment there. On Hayworth is what that one was. And it was like right directly behind you, just going the alley and around and you're in Canners. So I was right there. And I stayed for a while, but then my place got broken into on the ground floor. There's those crank out slat windows that you crank them out.
Right.
The guys just went, just slid them out of the slats and took all my shit, took my giant, heavy, clunky VCR, all stuff now that I'd be wondering what the fuck I'd be doing with all that stuff. Back then, that's all my current level of technology shit, And so they got that, and I went, okay, screw this place. I'm going to move. And then, I just bounced around town. I went from spot to spot. Then I got a house out in the valley for a while, and then the earthquake made that untenable, and then I moved to other places. So, yeah, I was on Holt for a while. When I worked on at HBO, I was on Holt.
Okay. So,
you know where Holt is? They call it Beverly Hills adjacent.
I know. Don't you love that? It's like I live in...
You get to say the word without paying the prices.
Exactly. It's so stupid. You look at it, you go, it's like I live in Burbank. But is North Hollywood Burbank adjacent? It's like people just make this crap up, and people look, and it's sad because you move into LA and you go, oh wow, Beverly Hills adjacent, and next thing it's like, well, you're in Playa del Rey.
What?
That's not. Yeah. You're not even near. You're in Palms. You're not even near Beverly Hills. But
well, it says adjacent if you're like Carl Sagan doing galactic distances. Yeah.
Now I want to talk about. How did you become
for that Sagan joke?
Oh well, yeah, but everyone knows Sagan. But now they'll do it. Someone else.
Good. Yeah. Come on, kids, stay with the Sagan.
If you don't know, I do. Jeff Martyr gives me crap about that because I always make these old TV references. I did an Esther Roll reference on stage a few months ago, and the guy in front of me is like, after me, he's like, I can't believe you did that. And I go, dude, I do it for me. I like the Esther Roll. You got to do something for you.
Aren't you happy to see Martyr back at the Two Mics again?
Oh, it's funny. I actually,
we got to get that boy back on the planks because he made very innovative, smart, wonderful, inspiring comedy.
I'm going to tell you a story right now, Rick. About a year ago, I was performing. I wasn't performing a lot, and I was doing this awful. Well, not awful, but it was an Italian restaurant in Eagle Rock. And it was run by these two twins who weren't Italian. They're Irish. And their claim to fame was they were on Hell's Kitchen. But they had a comedy night. So I said to the guy, I said, Martyr, if I can get you on this stage, you're going up. I don't know, Coop. I said, no, Jeff. I don't know. Jeff, if I can get you on, you're getting up. So I got his ass up on stage. And it was great to see him.
When was this?
This was about a year ago. And he got...
You were the one that got him on stage?
I got him on stage. I said, you're getting up
Go,
there.
Baby.
And he wouldn't let me do my lazy eye bit because he had a whole bit written about Cosby and his lazy eye. So I said, all right, Jeff. So you got to talk to him and get his ass on stage.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Because you guys...
But you got him.
I got him that one time, and then he disappeared. But no. When you were in San Francisco, when did you form a good friendship with? I know you were very close with Robin Williams. When did you form a? When did you form a good friendship with him?
I was friends with him back in the '70s in New York when Elaine Boozler brought him by Catch a Rising Star, and I was just starting to think, I think my team is breaking up, and I wanted to just goof around and play with other people, and somehow Robin sussed that, and we had a mutual love of Jonathan Winters. And the reputation around the club was I'm another one of the actively, physically wild improvisational guys. Only I live in New York, and so come out and meet this guy. And so we met because they said we had mutual energy. Not the style exactly, we weren't exactly the same style, but we had a kind of high energy young guys. So we befriended each other, started goofing around. He learned to slowly trust that I'm okay to play with. He was a little bit, I'll handle it, you can jump in here and there, but let me get it. And they said, hey, wait, this is okay, we can wingtip it like Blue Angels. And then that's for decades on after that, the trust was in and on we went.
What is, everyone says you guys two on stage was magic. I know you did stuff
Yeah, it
with
was fun,
Throckmorton.
man. It was, he didn't want it videotaped because he's a product and management wouldn't let him do it,
What was it like, though, just when what was the sheer energy like? Because you're both guys, you love Winners, you've known each other for a long time. When you guys hit the stage, what was the trust like? Was it like a trust like when a lead singer knows his guitarist is going to break that jam solo and come back? How was it trust, and how did you guys feed off each other?
Just, it's I think when there was a window, I took a lead as opposed to I'll always let him start a scene. I'll jump in with a premise. I'm the sheriff, and then he has to be the cowboy or whatever, and then we got a lot of laughs on the fact that I initiated a thing that paid off. So that's where trust comes from. I'll give you a shot to do it, but if you keep fucking it up and not going anywhere, I'm not going to trust you. But I will if you let us somewhere and we all got good laughs, and it was win-win. I think as an improver, you have to think in terms of, am I making win-win for everybody when I enter?
Now,
not just me.
You have such a good background in improv. How do you think that has helped with auditions? Do you think that makes you...
Oh, my God, does it help? Everybody listening in, please listen to this, that they love you when you can play a little bit and embellish on an audition for a commercial or something like that. And yes, you do run the risk of them just taking your shit and giving it to another guy to do your riff. I've seen it countless times. But in the mix of all the countless times, they will double back and give one or two of them to you, as opposed to you never got a shot at any of it. And it was always just a dream, and it never paid off. Because once you get two of them, people start to talk about those two you did, and you slowly build the heat. You can't always be the hot firecracker one up front. Sometimes you got the slow build, and how do you endure that? Knowing improv shortens that ride for you because they love you and bring you in sooner and more often. It brings in the odds of you getting it.
So you've used a lot of improv in your career. Now, as an actor, because as I said, you have a great resume, and I know I've seen you're going to be on Veep, which
it's going to be fun. It's going to be a ways off, but we're going to have some fun.
I love that show. We watch it every Sunday. I got a
Julia Louis-Dreyfus is a Lucy level, forever, Carol Burnett level, honored forever comic force.
Well, with your acting, because you work with so many great people, how, your career, when you started out, what kind of roles are you getting? Because your career, you've grown, you've lasted, and you've gone from different roles now,
Yeah, I can't book the kind of stuff I did then. I don't look like him anymore.
Well, what kind of roles?
Sort of book what you look like and let the record of what you've done before lead them a little bit, what they kind of feel, well, you could probably do lots of this. And so I got lots of cops for a while and all that with my mustache and feds and FBI and CIA for a while. I was a big batch of that. And with the beard, I get professors and city councilmen on Togetherness. I played that. They just reran that. And coming up on the parts I'm playing now as the congressman on Veep, I can have a beard. And the guy I'm undying up here, that's going to be on Showtime. I can't go into tons of detail just yet, but that's also a thing where I can keep a beard. And because I'm bald, I want some hair somewhere near my head.
Right.
Well, I have to weigh in the same on the meat scale every morning.
I used to always say when I would grow a goatee, it was my bald deflector. Because
bald, yeah, focus down here, ladies.
Yeah, you don't. They don't look at you and go, "He's bald." Yeah. They go, "Oh, he's got facial hair," and it always worked.
He's very focused. He's very focused with his hair.
Now,
They concentrated.
Now, through your career, what have some of your favorite roles been? Because you've had so many. I mean, you were in Willow. You've been in all different stuff.
Willow was great. Gung Ho was great.
What made them great? I mean, to you, was it just the people you're working with? I mean, as
working
an actor,
with Ron Howard, working on Willow with George Lucas, and with Ron Howard teamed together. Can you imagine? And Kevin Pollak, and so that was fun every day on the set. It was loads of fun. We helped set the record for the most amount of blue screen people stuck into a shot in all of history. When we had beaten Darby O'Gill and the Little People for the record. They also invented morphing for that film.
There you go.
Now, another favorite film I did was in Groundhog Day. I'm drunk and having fun with Bill Murray in the car. That was loads of fun. And then I had another great time doing Year One with Harold Ramis and Jack Black and Mike Cera.
Now, when you did those movies, did they let you improv because of your reputation?
Harold Ramis is a Second City guy, so we came up with that shtick. I'm talking like this on me because I'm working with Vinnie Jones. And since he talks like this, well, I'm going to talk like that as well. So we were like the two guys like that, the Cockney guys, and I go and play around with the whip, and Mike Cera. We just come up with little beats and that. It was so wonderfully written, you didn't have to add a ton. But in Groundhog Day, we came up with lots of the choreography, getting in and out of the car. I'm drunk, I'm sliding on the ice, and Bill says he'll drive, and all that. Some of that was written, and a lot of the shtick we came up with, because Harold just said, "What do you got?"
Now, do you feel...
Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
The director asks you, what do you got?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's just got to sit there. I mean, you must sit there and go to set and be like, oh my God, like they do it. It's like they do it once. They're not going to stop. They're not going to say, okay, you did it today. You can't do it tomorrow. It must be great. It must make the morale amazing.
You can't do it. The scene's got to get to a certain place at a certain time. It does, and just adding shit won't always help it. There's also, you have to have that thing in you where a scene is perfect. Don't insult everybody.
Right.
Don't insult everybody I just think in the market we have a place for improv now that is coming out of seeing it win everywhere. Seeing TV shows based on it like Curb Your Enthusiasm. Seeing movies, Christopher Guest, entire fucking films make a fortune, and the writer doesn't always dig it. So sometimes a writer writes a beat sheet, and you don't want to piss that writer off in that room. You got to know what's my Christopher Guest kind of movie, and this is beautifully written. You honor that, and you do it. And your improv is in how you interpret those finely crafted words, because you're still improvising something. You're a partner at all times. You're not a slave. Even when you have to do the words, you interpret. You bring what you got to bring to those words. That's where your improv goes. It never stops being an improv, and you just have to invite tons of memory to the process.
Now,
that makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense because that's true. Now, do you do that with your stand-up now? Because how often do you do stand-up now? I mean, are you?
It depends. It's not like I used to. It wasn't every night. Not every night like it used to be. Like now, I go if it's a charity thing, I do it. Sometimes people, hey, you want to come down and do my night? I got a night somewhere. Okay, I'll come down to your night. One of those things, or charity fundraisers.
Well, how has your act changed over the years? I mean, because we all grow.
Yeah.
What, and did you notice, was there certain points that you sat there and you said, I started changing? Like me, when I got back into it, I had that fear of not getting the laugh. But then I said, I'm just going to tell some stories and I don't need to do the one line and stuff like that. And they were just like sort of defining moments. Was there defining moments where you've seen in your career as stand-up, where you've veered to different areas and then gotten to the point where you are now?
I thought I was going to be like Steve Martin. I thought I was going to do some comedy and then some funny movies, and I could do whatever I wanted, I kind of used his career as a template. And you have to adjust to what happens, man. And the adjustment is based on finding out what else you're capable of. And I think people that are handed too much success too early have no idea what they're made of. And that's the confusion that fucks up their lives. They weren't put to a test where they had to adapt to other conditions. When they're young and adaptability is their thing. Later you adapt, it's slow, it's rusty, doesn't go easy. That's why I keep reinforcing, get improv skills as soon as you can so it stays formatted in your life for the rest of your existence. Yeah, I don't know, you know. Well, I don't know beyond that what to tell people, except that I think the market still wants what you could do if you could learn how to do that. Well, and it's tough. There's a lot of us, but it's still the shortest list out of all of them. There's a lot of actors. There's a lot of comedians. Not a lot of actor-comedians who know how to do good improv. That's a shorter list.
Now, for you, it was just years of doing it in the teaching. Does your stand-up act now, do you still do a lot of improv, or do you sit and write bits? How do you formulate when you're going to do a show?
Both. But if you go see we talked about set list last time, right? Did you talk about set list?
No, this is about set list. Provenza was just on, so I want to hear about your take on set list.
Yeah, my take on set list is it's one of the great breakthroughs for stand-up because it's making a game of the thing you would be doing to write anything original ever. It's people say, well, I'm not an improviser. When you get down on a pad and you're taking hours, you're just arduously and slowly improvising.
Right.
You're doing the same thing. You're just making it look like Sisyphus rolling a rock uphill, you know. So I think it's like dial-up and DSL doing the same thing.
Explain.
Dial-up, waiting for that fucking tone and for the data to flow, or just trusting that your subconscious does all that. It just does it at the speed of light. It does it live time. It writes, acts, directs at the speed of light. It's the same, demystifying it, it's the same process.
Now, where have you done set lists? I know, have you done it all over the world?
Well, Scotland.
Now, what was that like? Because it
was amazing, man. They put it in the caves, in Edinburgh, and the caves, ancient, like 1,000-year-old structures with water dripping out of these roughly hewn stacked rock walls. No real, what you'd call modern masonry involved at all. Put that there, put mud in between. More, put more. And so the echo, the sound, the history, even the dank smell, it was all part of you. Feel like it's some crazy ritual there. It was amazing. And the crowds love smart, original comedy there. They reward you when you nail it right. And do not, if you go over there, let an MC give you a long intro. That's a trick. They're doing it to fuck you over there because if once the crowd heard you gave them a long intro, they hate you for your set.
Why is that?
They want to be, we'll decide if you're good, and we don't care about your credits to trick us into liking you before we see the quality of your work.
That must be great for someone, especially someone like you that has so many credits. We always joke about, someone will say, okay, like I could say in my credit, it's been on the Ellen DeGeneres show. Well, okay, here's what I've done on the Ellen DeGeneres show. I played on a skit, I played one of Huey Lewis's News, and I played Matt Lauer's Top of His Head. I don't consider that as a TV credit. But people will do that in their intro. I laid and they said, the top of your head looks like Matt Lauer. They called me in. I green screened it. I wouldn't say that on my credits. But what's your take on the credits? What's like your credits? Because you have so many. Do you just say, hey, I just say I'm Rick Overton? What do you say when...
Yeah, it's tough. The latest one is I'm saying I'm the Hammer Dad from the GE commercial.
Okay.
Because and then I'll watch the audience go on a couple of heads go, elbow, whisper. Okay, good, we're using that one. Otherwise, it's the Drake from who, the what from what. It's like an old credit where they look at me. I don't even look like the credit anymore. I don't look like the person from the movie.
So isn't that like the difference? Just also how people are with TV. You'll get noticed for being the guy on the commercial. but you've done so many other things that people don't notice you. Isn't it weird how our attention span is that people they recognize commercial?
That's right. Yeah. They recognize the commercial because it plays the most of anything. You see it the most often. It keeps replaying. It's not like waiting for someone's scene in a movie. It's just your scene. That's it. Over and over and over and over. Sometimes on one show, they'll run it 3 times.
Now, how easy is it for you, someone who has the background in improv and stand-up and has the chops, has been doing it for years, when they come in, how easy is it for you just to nail the line in a commercial? And sometimes you probably, because you have to know what you're doing, because as you said, you were so respected in improv. How easy is it for you just to like deliver a line? And sometimes they sit there and take it a lot longer than you're like, okay, we got it.
Well, yeah, you got to think in terms, even when you're doing Curb Your Enthusiasm, you have to think in terms of how much time this is going to take. Because Larry David's going, yeah, but this whole thing has to take this amount of time because there's all that other stuff. And we have a half hour plus the roll in the beginning of the show and the end credits. So you're not getting a clean half. So you got to really don't go or too much in the scene or we just can't use the scene, you know?
Right.
And so you screwed yourself by humming too much.
So
you hummed yourself off the map.
But you nail lines pretty quick because you're a pro.
Well, you'll learn to improv and think of a tight line that would be funny there. If you see in Dinner for Schmucks, I improvise that line where I lean over to the guy with the vulture and go, are they cute when they're little or are they pretty much this horrible the whole time? And right. they said cut and the room disintegrated and they left it in. So, you know. How
fun was that set? Because you had so many talented guys and you're playing just such oddballs. How fun?
It was impossible to hold one complete tape without a when they're doing the psychic blasting back and where Zach is shooting at him, with the psychic zing thoughts and stuff, shooting at Steven. So
I mean, is it just...
Anyway, I thought it was a wonderfully it was a fun ensemble. I did pretty good. Made some pretty good. And I thought it was a good message about how you treat people.
That's true. That's good. Now, also, I saw on your credits, you're in Grimm.
Yeah.
What is that?
219 episode.
Now,
I'm Uncle Felix. Gentlemen, I'm Uncle Felix.
Now, does it throw you off like when you get called for such a dark show because you are such a strong comedic actor? I mean, you're a great actor, but do they sit there and go, okay? Do people know of your comedy background when you go in for certain roles?
Yeah. Most of the time now, unless it's a brand new casting person, people that call me on a more regular basis, they kind of know what they're getting. And your job is to show them that you're even more than what they thought they were getting. Every time you go in, it's just let them, don't push it and overdo it unless that's what's called for. But really bring it when you do it. So you want to get that one, you want to have their eyes have that calm look in the eyes, but the eyebrows go, huh? Just up a little bit, just a little. 3 millimeters up, you got them. You made them notice you've got a new skill set or you refined it another place. They're going to call you more often. And it isn't about, I'm going to be 10 times bigger in the part. That isn't the point. The point is not the size of how you're doing this. The point is, are you willing to modify yourself a little bit? It's like some of the improv, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that some of this improv is how you grow and you change yourself. You're improvising your own evolution in art, because how can you know how much better you'd be at a thing until you tried it, right?
Right. Now, as to stand-up, how do you think it's changed over the years from when you started?
I think stand-up got saturated, and it's branching out. There's alternative comedy now. Everyone's got a new shit. And then there's it comes back from being an alternative to alternative comedy. And it comes right back around again. I see it going round and round and round. It cycles. Sketch is big for a while. Sketchfest is huge. And in that is a lot of improv. Improv with UCB and all that has lines going out the door for all the show students waiting months to get in.
high demand because they recognize the skill set as something that pays for itself much sooner than, say, a medical school loan would.
Right.
For as far as getting payback results and paying off the loan. So I have a feeling it's going to keep evolving. It'll go through seasons where comedy then dips again, and everyone says it all sucks. You keep hearing the phase where all comedy blows, and then there's a renaissance, and then it blows again. And they're talking about the same exact material. They're tired of hearing it now. They love it, and they're tired of it, and it's anytime anything repeats too much. That's the jokes don't work when you hear a formula too much.
Now, would you ever stop doing stand-up, or is it just in your blood?
I don't know, man. It never occurred to me to stop doing it, like an intentional cessation of it. I got acting work, and, it's got a union with medical and dental. That's pretty good, right?
Oh, yeah.
You want that, right?
Oh, you need that.
Yeah, so I do the stand-up. There's guys, my peers, who they stayed with that, and they're making a fortune. They're literally making a fortune. They're doing ships, and they're doing corporates. Oh, my God, the money they make at a corporate, that's like a year's salary for most people. And you have to build that. And you have to build the trust of the corporations, and you have to live in the conscripts of the world they hire from. So you can't really express certain opinions online because they check that stuff, and they want to make sure you're on their team. And, I kind of like saying what I like to say.
Now,
that's why I probably couldn't run for politics either.
I think you'd be a good politician.
But I like saying, Ricky likes saying what he likes.
Right. Well, that's what we need. So now, do you have an audition?
Maybe. You know what? If Bernie wins, maybe there'd be a place for me in it all. But right now, it doesn't seem like they'd go for it.
Are you? Yeah. Now, who are you supporting for the election?
3 guesses.
I would say you're a Bernie guy.
Yeah. Because water, unfracked water, clean water is more important than anyone's life, than anyone's separate life. It's more important than any religion. It's more important than any amount of money or career or language or relationship or friendship. There's no life without water. Everything, every other word goes away without water. It's more important than every other issue on earth.
And so
it's the single most important issue there is of anything.
Now, why don't
we're dead without that part?
Why don't people talk about that as much?
Well, they do. You're just checking the wrong sources to hear it. Don't go to the large news. That's a sick parent who won't ever tell you they love you. They'll never say I love you, and we got to stop going there and asking them, and then being hurt every time they don't. They don't know how. They're sick.
So now, what news do you watch? Where do you get your news? Because you're always informed. You always post really good stuff. Where do you get your news?
I have the Young Turks. I recommend U.S. Uncut, Alternate, some Raw Story. Though they're starting to swing one way. Everything that gets too many ads on it, you go, they got them. Once there's too many ads on any news entity, they're restricted now. They're bought.
Now, you are going to an audition today or a meeting?
I'm going to a meeting.
Okay.
I'm driving in the car right now, and we're still good to talk for a while.
Good.
So, and the Skype is working great, man.
I know.
I just got my new car, and the Bluetooth is grooving.
That's cool. No, isn't Skype great? Because, the studio I got closed, and I had to start getting guests, and it makes it so much more convenient because you can Skype me from your car. You could be going to a meeting, and you could be talking to me, which is amazing.
Is that cool? Yeah, and you talk to someone, and you could do this podcast in Europe,
Oh, I know. It's I've done. Last week I had people on from Philadelphia. I had someone from New York, and isn't it amazing? Like with technology for us, wouldn't comedy have been a lot easier to get gigs years ago if we had all this technology?
In some ways, I think some of our skill sets are reliant on them in a way that we just had to go raw. There was something raw about contacting an audience, not worrying about all the technical stuff. I guess there was always some technical show concern, yes, but everyone see you bring your tape recorder on stage. There's this giant thing with piano keys on the front of it. Remember the cassette recorder with the big black plastic with the chrome grill and the handle on it?
Yeah, it had the handle that slid up.
Yeah, you want to subway to hear your set,
I remember when I graduated college, I said I wanted to do stand-up. My brother got me one of those little micro cassettes, and I didn't know what the hell to do with it.
The micro, you're like James Bond.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I'm like, the cassette's so small. What do I do? And then you sit there and you would want to play it, but the quality was never good because it was so small, and you couldn't play it in a big tape player.
Right, and then you'd be sitting at home rewinding. What was that fucking joke I said? I can't hear what I said over the laugh. God damn it.
We got to wrap.
Shit sound, right?
Yeah, we got to wrap soon. What is coming up for you? What can we look for you, Rick? What's going on? Like you get some. Are you gonna do some more set list shows?
I just did one, but I'm going to be at the Bridgeport Comedy Festival in Oregon in early June. So guys up in Oregon, if you're listening in, come and pay a visit and have a laugh with us.
Now, what will you be doing? An improv set or a stand-up set, or what? Or is it
I'll be doing a bunch of different things, including both of those. Yes.
And so, what?
I'm going to do a set list, and I'm going to do stand-up and another couple of games, and we're just arranging it all now. But I'm going to do. When I'm there at the festivals, sign me up.
Do you like the festivals?
Have me do a game. I like guesting in. I like trying new things. I like stretching and expanding and seeing what your skill sets really are. It used to be, they said, by the time you're 60, you're all washed up, and now new research says it's one entire other lifetime you begin a sequence of if you're healthy. And 60 to 80, there's an enormous burst of other kind of creativity. And it comes with being seasoned and having looked at the other parts of your life. You take wiser chances, but you still take them, and you find all this wealth of other stuff. People begin to paint at this age and all that shit. You've seen these people later on in their career, they find another thing. So I'm aiming it all still in the stuff that I love, the verbal jazz, the verbal music, improv.
You're sort of like a jazz musician to comedy.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say. I think that's very high flattery. Thank you for saying that, Steve.
No, because you do the riff. You do your own. You're not contained. That's what they say about jazz musicians. They get up and they riff. You seem to, we know you can write because, you've written for TV shows, but when you go on stage, you seem to I think you enjoy the riffing.
Oh, what is writing?
Exactly.
Writing is ripping out your hands. It's either theft or ripping, and there's no third option. It is one of the two. So I say honor the one you want, which you want to be known for. Work on the one you'd like your reputation to be staked on.
Right. Well, Rick,
right? Yeah,
we got to wrap up. See, an hour flies by. That I'm glad we worked this out. And now,
I'm glad we got to talk, man, and get caught up, buddy. Everything good with you? What's the latest? What are you coming up? What do you got?
I got, just the Cooper Talk and some other stuff going on. I might start doing a little stand-up again. Where do people find
There you go.
I'm thinking of it. I'm thinking of getting on stage just to have fun. I sort of miss it. So.
All right. Yeah, come do a set list out at Flappers in Burbank when Troy sets up another one of the nights for set list tryouts.
Okay, that's cool. Well, you got to,
Yeah, you're going to love it. Don't worry, you're going to love it.
I know Provenza was on, and Provenza talked about it just a few months ago, so that's always good. So now, do you tweet? Are you a Twitter guy?
At Rick Overton. Rick Overton on Facebook. And that's what I got going on right now, brother.
Well, I want to thank you, Rick. People, so check out Rick Overton. Go to IMDb. Go Netflix some of his old movies. Just go watch the guy. He's a talent. And so people follow him. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Cooper Talk. That's at Cooper Talk. Go to my website, coopertalk.net.
Yes.
I have over 500.
Check him out. Check this guy out. We're gonna bug him to get back up there.
I will. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Stevie.
We'll talk
I'll
soon.
Be up there, pal.
I will.
Soon.
Okay.
We'll hold you. Bye.
All right. Take it easy.
I'll hold you to it.
All right.
Bye.
So people, go check him out. Also, don't forget my website, coopertalk.net. Instagram, coopertalk1, where I put a lot of pictures up. As I said, Twitter. Words with Friends, message me. We'll play. I'm Cooper Talk 1. And my other website, stopthesalt.com. As you know, when I went through that health problem, I wrote a cookbook, 120 easy recipes. Easy to make. No pictures. You won't be intimidated. No big list of ingredients. You don't have cumin? Don't worry. I'm not giving you a recipe with cumin. Go check it out. Go to stopthesalt.com. It's $9.95 plus shipping and handling. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. But if you get it from me, I'll sign it for you and I'll send it to you and I make more money. And also GoFundMe/Cooper Talk, trying to get into the SAG union. So go check that out. If you want to send a donation, I have lots of perks to give you. So do that. So don't forget, check out Rick Overton. Funny guy. I'm Steve Cooper at Cooper Talk, www.coopertalk.net. I'm Steve Cooper. I'm only as hip as my guests. Don't forget, drink your water, eat your vegetables, take your vitamins, and I will talk to you guys next week.